The Bible indeed addresses bitterness as a significant emotional and spiritual issue that can hinder one's relationship with God and block the blessings He intends for believers. Let's explore what the Bible says about bitterness and how it can obstruct us from experiencing God's abundance. Bitterness is often described as deep-seated resentment or anger arising from perceived injustices or disappointments. It manifests in negative behaviors such as slander and malice. For example, when we help a relative but feel they don't express gratitude adequately, this can lead to resentment that eats away at us. Hebrews chapter 12 verse 15 warns against a root of bitterness that can spring up and cause trouble, defiling many. This metaphor illustrates how bitterness can grow quietly within a person, leading to widespread harm in relationships and spiritual life. When we harbor bitterness, even our prayers can be affected as we're not approaching God from a place of peace and love. The Bible provides examples like Esau, who lost his birthright and became consumed with resentment. Bitterness can lead to spiritual stagnation, emotional turmoil, and damaged relationships, ultimately blocking one from receiving God's grace and blessings. Bitterness creates a barrier between individuals and God's grace. It distorts our perception of ourselves, others, and even God, making it difficult to accept His love and blessings. The emotional weight of bitterness leads to negativity, resentment, and anger. This toxic mindset affects personal well-being and diminishes our ability to experience joy and gratitude for God's provisions. Holding on to bitterness often prevents us from forgiving those who have wronged us. Without forgiveness, relationships remain strained, and we cannot fully embrace the peace and abundance that God offers. Bitterness can cloud judgment, leading us to focus on grievances rather than blessings. This skewed perspective makes it challenging to recognize the goodness in our lives or the opportunities for growth that God provides. A bitter heart can create barriers in relationships, leading to isolation and loneliness. This disconnection further hinders our ability to receive support, love, and encouragement from the community of faith. To walk in the fullness of God's grace, we must address our feelings of bitterness through 1. Forgiveness. Choose to forgive, even when it's difficult. 2. Self-reflection. Examine our hearts and identify areas of bitterness. 3. Seeking healing from God. Turn to God in prayer and through His Word for healing and restoration. 4. Practicing gratitude. Focus on God's blessings rather than perceived injustices. 5. Community support. Engage with a faith community for encouragement and accountability. By addressing bitterness, we open ourselves up to the blessings that come from living in harmony with God's will. Let's commit to dealing with the bitterness in our hearts, allowing God's love and grace to transform us and restore our relationships.